Ladies, let me tell you something, and I need you to sit down for this one. Pour yourself something warm, put your phone face down, and listen to me like I'm your uncle who has watched too many good women give away too much of themselves to men who never learned how to receive them. Because tonight I'm going to tell you about 3 places every man wants you to kiss. 3 places he dreams about. 3 places he will never, ever ask for out loud. And by the end of this conversation, you're going to understand something about men that most women live their whole lives never figuring out. Now, before you start thinking I'm about to get grown on you, hear me clearly. I'm not talking about what you think I'm talking about. I'm talking about something deeper, something a man cannot admit even to himself, something that separates the woman he plays with from the woman he builds his life around. And baby, if you learn what I'm about to teach you, you will never again wonder why a man went quiet, why he pulled back, why he chose the woman you swore was less than you. You will know. You will finally know. So let me sit down across from you at this kitchen table and let me break this down the way my grandmother would have broken it down if she'd had the words. Because this is not a lesson about seduction. This is a lesson about power. Your power, the power you were born with and the world convinced you to hand over one apology at a time. See, here's what nobody tells you about men. A man has 2 languages. He has the language he speaks out loud, and he has the language his soul speaks in the dark when he's alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering why he can't stop thinking about you. And the language of his soul, sister, is a language of hunger. Not the hunger you think, not the hunger the world taught you men. Had a deeper hunger, a hunger to be known, a hunger to be safe, a hunger to be seen by one woman in a way the whole world refuses to see him. And there are 3 places on him. And I'm not talking about his body the way you're thinking. 3 places where that hunger lives. 3 places he will never point to. 3 places he will never request. 3 places that when you kiss them, something in him breaks open and cannot be sealed shut ever again. And once you understand these 3 places, you will stop chasing men. You will stop begging men. You will stop shrinking for men because you will finally understand the currency they were born hungry for. And you will realize you have been sitting on a fortune your whole life. So let me tell you about the first place. And I need you to lean in because this one is going to hit different than you expected. The first place every man wants you to kiss is his forehead. Yeah, you heard me. His forehead. Not his lips first, not his neck first, his forehead. And I know what you're thinking. Sister, that sounds too simple. That sounds too small. That sounds like something you do to a child. And that right there is exactly why it undoes him. Let me tell you why. Every man walking this earth, from the CEO in the corner office to the brother pumping gas at the corner store, is carrying weight you cannot see. He is carrying pressure to provide. He is carrying pressure to protect. He is carrying pressure to have every answer and never look confused, never look scared, never look tired. From the time he was a little boy, the world told him, boys don't cry, boys don't complain, boys figure it out. And so he grew into a man who learned to swallow everything. His fear, his grief, his loneliness. He swallowed it all and put on a face and went out into the world. And here's what happens, baby. When a woman kisses a man on his forehead softly, with intention, with tenderness, his body reads it as safety. His nervous system, which has been on high alert since he was a boy, finally exhales. Something inside him that has been clenched for 30, 40, 50 years releases. And in that moment, you become something to him he did not even know he was looking for. You become the one place in the world he does not have to perform. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? You've seen it. You've seen a strong man fall apart in the arms of a soft woman. You've seen the toughest man you know go completely still when a woman touches his face like he matters. And you wondered, what is that? What just happened? Why did his whole body change? I'll tell you what happened. His soul was recognized. And once a man's soul has been recognized by a woman, sister, he will move heaven and earth to stay near that recognition. Because the world is full of women who will kiss his mouth. The world is full of women who will kiss his body. But a woman who kisses his forehead, a woman who kisses the part of him that carries all the weight, that woman becomes rare. That woman becomes irreplaceable. That woman becomes home. Let me tell you about a woman I know. Let's call her Maya. Maya had been dating a man for about 8 months, and she couldn't figure out why she felt like she was auditioning for a role she already had. He was affectionate, but he was distant. He was present, but he was guarded. And she came to me one day, tired, worn down, and she said, I don't know what he wants from me. I've tried everything. I've been sexy. I've been sweet. I've been quiet. I've been fun. And nothing seems to reach him. I said, Maya, baby, stop trying to reach him where the world already reaches him. Every woman he's ever dated has reached for the same places. His mouth, his body, his ego. Try something none of them have tried. Try reaching him where he's tired. And she looked at me confused, and I said, next time he comes over after a long day, before you say a word, put both your hands on the sides of his face, pull him towards you gently, and kiss him one time on his forehead. Then let him go. Don't explain it. Don't make a big deal of it. Just let it happen. She calls me 2 weeks later. And baby, her voice was different. Her whole vibration was different. She said, he cried. He didn't say anything for about a minute. And then he just started crying quietly. And then he held me tighter than he's ever held me. And now he calls me every morning before work. Now he tells me things he's never told anybody. Now I feel him. I finally feel him. That's the power of the forehead kiss. That's what the first place does. Because sister, a man does not want a woman who worships his strength. A man wants a woman who honors his humanity. And the forehead is where his humanity lives. Behind that forehead is every worry he's never spoken, every dream he's never named, every fear he's carried alone for decades. And when your lips land there with tenderness, you are telling him without words, I see the weight you carry. I am not afraid of it. I am here. And I need you to hear me on this next part, because this is where most women miss it. You cannot fake this. A forehead kiss with an agenda is felt immediately. A forehead kiss done to manipulate lands cold. A man's body knows the difference between a woman who is genuinely tender and a woman who is performing tenderness to get something from him. So if you're going to do this, and I hope you do with the right man, you have to do it from a place of actually seeing him, actually caring, actually being willing to hold the space he steps into. Now, let me tell you what happens in a man's mind when this becomes a regular experience with you. He starts to reorganize his life around access to you, not access to your body, access to that feeling, because that feeling is a drug he did not know existed. Every other high in his life, the money, the promotion, the applause, the win, is external. It's out there. It has to be chased. But the feeling of being tenderly received by a woman who is not afraid of his humanity, That's internal. That's home. And a man will chase money his whole life. But the moment he tastes home, sister, he will drop the chase and stay. That's why players stop playing. That's why the man everybody said would never settle down suddenly settles down. It's not because she was prettier. It's not because she was slimmer. It's not because she gave him more. It's because she gave him something he had never been given before. She gave him a place where he did not have to perform. And once a man has that, everything else in the world tastes like sawdust. Now, let me be clear with you, baby, because I don't want you walking away from this misunderstanding me. I am not telling you to become his mother. I'm not telling you to shrink yourself into some soft, silent servant of his emotions. That is not what this is. There is a world of difference between a woman who tenderly recognizes a man and a woman who dissolves herself into a man. One is a queen, the other is a doormat. And a man cannot love a doormat. He can use one, but he cannot love one. You honor his weight without carrying it for him. You see his humanity without becoming his therapist. You kiss his forehead, and then you go pour yourself a glass of wine and live your own beautiful life. Because the forehead kiss only means something if it comes from a woman who has somewhere else to be. A woman with her own fullness. A woman who chose to give him that moment and could have just as easily chosen not to. That's the difference. That's always been the difference. All right, now let me tell you about the second place. And this one, sister, is where it gets a little spicy, but not in the way you think. The second place every man wants you to kiss is the space right where his shoulder meets his neck. That little curve, that soft slope, that spot where the muscle rises up to meet the jaw. You know exactly where I'm talking about. And I want to tell you why that spot is so charged, so powerful, so full of meaning that a man cannot articulate. That spot is where a man carries his armor. Think about it. When a man is stressed, where does the tension go? His shoulders. When a man is on guard, what rises? His shoulders. When a man is preparing for a fight, whether it's in a boardroom or on a street corner, his body pulls upward, his shoulders tighten, his neck goes rigid. That whole region becomes stone because that whole region is where he braces himself against the world. Now, most women, when they get close to a man, they go for the mouth, they go for the chest, they go for the places the movies taught them to go for. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. But baby, when you press your lips softly, slowly into that little valley where his shoulder meets his neck, you are kissing his armor. You're kissing the exact place he holds the world back. And in that moment, the armor cracks. Not because you forced it, because you honored it. Let me explain the psychology, because I want you to understand this on a bone deep level. A man's shoulders are where he holds his identity as a protector. Every man, whether he admits it or not, was raised with the idea that his job in this world is to shield the people he loves. Shield them from danger, shield them from lack, shield them from disappointment. And that job is heavy. It is heavy every single day. And most men do it in complete silence because they were taught that a real man never complains about the shield. When you kiss him in that spot with softness, with slowness, you are doing something almost no woman does. You are acknowledging the shield. You are saying without words, I see what you carry for me and for us. I see that you have been standing guard. And for one moment, I want you to put the shield down and let me love the man who was standing behind it. Sister, do you understand how rare that is? Do you understand how few women in his life have ever spoken to that part of him? His mother loved him, but she leaned on him. His previous girlfriends wanted him, but they wanted him strong. Nobody has come to him and honored the tired warrior underneath. Nobody has come to that shoulder and said, rest here. Let me tell you about another woman. Let's call her Rachel. Rachel had been married for 11 years, and she came to me and said, my husband and I have become roommates. We're kind, we're respectful, but the fire is gone, and I don't know how to get it back without begging him to notice me, which I refuse to do. I told Rachel the same thing I'm telling you. I said, stop trying to seduce him. Try to see him. And here's what I want you to do. Tonight, when he sits down on the couch after work, don't ask him about his day. Don't turn on the television. Just walk over, stand behind him, put your hands on his shoulders, and instead of massaging them the way you always do, bend down and kiss him once slowly, right where his shoulder meets his neck. Then walk away. Go do something else. Don't say a word. She called me the next morning. She said he followed me into the kitchen 10 minutes later and asked me what that was. And I just smiled and said, that was me remembering you. And he stood there for a long time. And then he pulled me into a hug and held me for so long I thought he might never let go. And she said, we talked for 3 hours that night about things we hadn't talked about in years, about who we used to be, about who we still are, about what we want. And she said, I feel him again. For the first time in a decade, I feel him again. That is what that spot does. That is why every man wants you to kiss it, and why he will never, ever ask you to. Because he cannot admit he wants to be seen. He cannot admit he wants to put the shield down. He cannot admit he needs rest. But when you go there without being asked, sister, you become the woman who knew what he needed before he did. And that woman, baby, is the woman a man dies loyal to. Now, I want to warn you about something, because this next part is where a lot of women misuse this knowledge. When you learn what a man responds to, there's a temptation to use it as a weapon, to use it to manipulate, to use it to trap. And I need you to hear me clearly. The moment you use tenderness as a strategy, it stops working. Men can feel the difference. They may not be able to name it, but they can feel it. Their body knows. Their spirit knows. And you will find that a man who was melting under your touch 2 months ago is suddenly cold and distant, and you cannot figure out why. It's because somewhere along the way, your tenderness turned into technique, and technique cannot compete with truth. So when I tell you these 3 places, I am not giving you a manipulation manual. I am giving you a language you can speak fluently only if you actually love the man in front of you, only if you actually respect him, only if you are actually choosing him from a place of fullness, not fear. And if he is not the man for you, then don't kiss him anywhere. Walk away. Save these places for the man who deserves them. Because these 3 kisses are not for every man. They are for the man who has earned the sanctuary of you. You are not a hotel. You are not a rest stop. You are not a convenience store where a man can grab what he needs and keep driving. You are a sanctuary. And a sanctuary chooses who enters. A sanctuary has doors. A sanctuary has hours. A sanctuary has standards. And the man who kneels at your door with the right heart, that is the only man who gets to feel these kisses. Everybody else can keep it moving. Do you hear me? All right. Now let me tell you about the 3rd place. And this one, sister, is the deepest of them all. This one is the one that changes a man's life. This one is the one that separates the woman he sleeps with from the woman he marries. The 3rd place every man wants you to kiss is his heart, not his chest, his heart. And I need you to hear the difference because it is everything. His chest is muscle. His chest is body. His chest is what the world sees when he takes off his shirt. But his heart is deeper. His heart is buried under bone and muscle and years of being told to lock it up. And when I say kiss his heart, I mean lay your ear against his chest. Listen for the sound of his heartbeat. And then press your lips right there, right over that rhythm. And hold them there for one long moment. Not a peck, not a passing kiss, a landing, a settling, a stay. Because sister, that is a place where every man was told as a little boy that he had to lock himself away. That is the place where his first heartbreak lives. That is the place where every disappointment he has ever swallowed lives. That is the place where the version of him nobody ever met. The tender boy, the dreamer, the artist, the poet, the softness the world beat out of him. That version of him is still alive, curled up, waiting. And when your lips land on that place, and when you hold them there long enough for him to feel your breath through his skin, something ancient happens. He remembers who he was before the world hardened him. He remembers what it felt like to be loved without needing to earn it. He remembers for one moment that he is not just a role, not just a resume, not just a paycheck, not just a protector. He is a soul, and you just kissed his soul awake. Baby, I want you to understand how rare this is. Most men go their entire lives without ever having a woman kiss their heart like this. Their wives may kiss their chest. Their girlfriends may kiss their body. But almost no woman goes to the heart itself, deliberately, slowly, with the intention of saying, I love who lives in here. I am not just here for the man the world sees. I am here for the man you are when nobody is watching. Let me tell you about a woman named Tasha. Tasha had been dating a man for 2 years. A good man, a stable man, but a man who was emotionally locked up so tight, she felt like she was in a relationship with a very kind stranger. She could not get him to open up. She could not get him to be vulnerable. She could not get him to let her all the way in. And one night, after they had been lying in bed watching television, she turned to him, put her head on his chest, listened to his heartbeat for a minute, and then, without saying a word, she moved her lips to right over his heart and kissed him there. Not a sexy kiss, not a suggestive kiss, a slow, deliberate, sacred kiss. And then she just laid her cheek back down and listened. She told me later that at first he didn't move, he didn't breathe, he didn't say anything. And she started to wonder if she'd made him uncomfortable. But then she felt his hand come up and rest gently on the back of her head. And she felt him swallow hard. And then she felt something warm hit her cheek. And she realized he was crying. Silently, without moving, just tears sliding down into her hair. And after a long time, he whispered, "My mother used to do that when I was little. My mother used to lay her hand right there and tell me she loved me. Nobody has touched me there since she died." And Tasha said in that moment, she understood what she had been missing for 2 years. She hadn't been missing him. She had been missing permission to reach him. And once she found the right door, he opened, and he has been open ever since. That is the third place. That is the deepest place. That is the place a man carries his whole hidden life. And when you kiss him there with reverence, sister, you are telling him something no achievement, no title, no amount of money will ever tell him. You are telling him he is worthy of being loved on the inside. Not for what he does, not for what he provides, not for how he performs, but for who he is when the lights go out and the world stops watching. Now let me pause here because I want to talk to you directly, woman to woman, sister to sister. I need you to hear something. You have been taught your whole life that a man's love has to be earned. You have been taught to compete for it. You have been taught to perform for it. You have been taught to shrink, to fit it, to expand, to hold it, to twist yourself into whatever shape the last man required. And you are tired. I know you are tired. Because a woman who is trying to earn love from a man who should be honored to receive her, that woman is exhausted in her bones. I need you to hear me clearly. You are not too much. You have never been too much. You will never be too much. The men who told you that you were too much were not too much for you. They were too little for you. And there is a world of difference, baby, between a man who cannot handle you and a woman who is asking for too much. You have never been asking for too much. You have been asking the wrong men, because a real man, a grown man, a whole man, he does not run from a woman who kisses him on his forehead. He does not flinch from a woman who kisses him where his shoulder meets his neck. He does not shut down when a woman kisses him over his heart. He kneels, he softens, he shows up, he stays, he builds, because he has been waiting his whole life to be received the way you are ready to receive him. He just didn't know that language existed until you spoke it. So the question is not whether these 3 kisses work. They work. They have worked since the beginning of time. The question is, are you giving them to the right man? Because if you are giving your sanctuary away to a man who has not earned it, a man who ghosts you, a man who half loves you, a man who keeps you in the waiting room of his life, then all the tenderness in the world will not save that relationship. It will only teach him that he can access the sacred without paying the price. And baby, the sacred always requires a price. That price is not money. That price is not sex. That price is his consistency, his commitment, his willingness to choose you out loud in front of the world every single day. That is what he pays for the privilege of the 3 kisses. And if he will not pay it, he does not get to enter the sanctuary. Period. Now here's where most women mess up, and I need you to listen carefully. Most women, when they learn something like this, they immediately think, let me try this on the man I've been struggling with. Let me try this on the man who won't commit. Let me try this on the man I've been chasing. And I need to stop you right there. You do not use the 3 kisses to win a man. You use the 3 kisses to bless a man who has already won you. Do you hear the difference? You do not spend the currency of your sacredness trying to convince a man to stay. You spend it celebrating a man who has already chosen to stay. Because the kisses are not bait. The kisses are a reward. And the man who has not earned the reward does not get the reward. If you're sitting there right now thinking about a specific man, a man who has been giving you crumbs, a man who disappears for days, a man who cannot decide whether he wants you or not, sister, close that door. Close it tonight. Do not give him the forehead kiss. Do not give him the shoulder kiss. Do not give him the heart kiss. Give him the door. Because a man who cannot decide about you does not get access to the deepest parts of you. He gets the exit and you get your peace back. Because here's the truth nobody wants to tell you. The moment you stop giving your sacredness to unworthy men is the moment worthy men become visible to you. As long as you are pouring into the wrong cup, you cannot see the right one being placed in front of you. Your hands are full. Your energy is drained. Your discernment is clouded. But the day you finally say, I am done giving my sanctuary to people who have not earned the key, that is the day the right one walks into the room and you finally have the clarity to see him. Let me tell you about a woman named Denise. Denise was 42 years old when she came to me. She had been in and out of relationships for 20 years. And she said, I keep giving my everything to men who never quite show up. And I'm tired. I don't want to try anymore. I don't want to hope anymore. I just want to be at peace by myself. I told Denise, that's a good starting place. Peace by yourself is a great starting place. But before you close the door on love completely, I want you to try one thing. I want you to make a list of the 3 kisses. I want you to write down forehead, shoulder, heart. And I want you to make a promise to yourself. The next man who walks into your life does not get any of these until he has proven over months, not days, that he has earned the sanctuary of you. He gets your kindness. He gets your friendship. He gets your presence. But he does not get the sacred kisses until he has demonstrated that he is a man who will build with you, protect you, honor you, and choose you out loud. Denise did that. She held that line. And baby, I'm telling you, 6 months later, she met a man who took 9 months to earn his first forehead kiss from her. 9 months. And when she finally gave it to him, he cried. And a year after that, they were married. And every time I see her now, she looks like a woman who finally found the address of her own throne. That is what happens when you stop giving your sacred away for free. That is what happens when you understand the value of what you carry. Because sister, what you carry is not common. What you carry is not average. What you carry is the ability to make a man remember he has a soul. And there is nothing in this world, no career, no house, no car, no title, worth more than that to a man. He just doesn't know it yet. And your job is not to teach him. Your job is to hold your standards so high that only a man who already knows it can reach you. Now let me get into the deeper mechanics of why these 3 places work. Because I want you to understand it not just emotionally, but almost scientifically. Because a lot of women hear teachings like this, and they think it's woo-woo. It's not. It's biology. It's psychology. It's the truth about how men are wired. A man's body is designed to be in constant readiness. His nervous system is what scientists call sympathetic dominant. That means from the time he wakes up in the morning until the time he closes his eyes at night, his body is in a low-grade state of readiness. Ready to fight, ready to protect, ready to solve, ready to provide. His shoulders are tight. His jaw is set. His heart rate is elevated. He may not even feel it because he's been living in that state so long, it feels normal to him. Now, what happens when a woman touches him with some tenderness in these 3 specific places? His nervous system switches. It shifts from sympathetic to parasympathetic, from fight mode to rest mode. And that shift, baby, that shift is the single most healing thing that can happen to a man's body because he has not been in rest mode in months, maybe years, maybe his whole adult life. And you just gave him the shift. You just brought his body home. And here's what happens in his brain when you do that. His brain releases oxytocin. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. It's the same hormone that floods a mother's system when she holds her baby. It's the hormone that creates attachment. It's the hormone that says, this person is my safe person. And when you kiss him in the 3 places I've described, over and over, with intentions, with tenderness, over weeks and months, his brain wires itself around you. You become his safe person on a biochemical level. You become the source of the only rest he knows. And once a man's biology is wired around you, sister, he does not leave. He cannot leave. Not because he's trapped, but because leaving, you would mean leaving the only version of himself that finally gets to breathe. And no sane man walks away from the ability to breathe. That's why the great love stories last. That's why some marriages survive 50 years and other relationships crumble in 6 months. It's not compatibility. It's not chemistry. It's not the surface level things everybody obsesses over. It's whether the woman ever reached the parts of him that nobody else has ever reached. If she did, he stays. If she didn't, he wanders. Because a man who has never been reached is a man still looking for the woman who will reach him. And I want you to hear this next part because it's going to challenge some of what you've been taught. You have been sold your whole life the idea that a man is drawn to the woman who is hardest to get, the woman who plays games, the woman who withholds, the woman who keeps him guessing. And there is a grain of truth in that. A woman with self-respect is more attractive than a woman without it. But sister, hear me clearly. A man is not drawn to a woman who withholds tenderness. He is drawn to a woman who has tenderness so valuable that she chooses carefully who receives it. There's a big difference between a cold woman and a discerning woman. A cold woman has no warmth to give. A discerning woman has infinite warmth, and she gives it only to the man who has earned the privilege. And every man, on some level, can tell the difference. He is not attracted to coldness. He is attracted to a warmth he has to become worthy of. That's what pulls him. That's what wakes him up. That's what makes him want to become a better man. Because a man does not become his best self for a woman who requires nothing of him. A man becomes his best self for a woman whose sanctuary he wants to be worthy of. And when you carry yourself like a woman who has 3 sacred kisses to give, and only a man who has proven himself gets to receive them, you become the kind of woman men reorganize their entire lives to become worthy of. Now let me talk to you about what happens when you get this wrong, because I don't want to leave this teaching one-sided. There are 2 ways women mess this up, and I've seen both of them break beautiful women's hearts. The first mistake is giving the 3 kisses too soon. You meet a man, you feel a spark, you feel a connection, and within 2 weeks, you're kissing his forehead like he's your husband. You're kissing his shoulder like he's your protector. You're kissing his heart like he's your soulmate. And baby, he hasn't earned any of it. He hasn't proven anything. He hasn't shown you who he is over time. And what happens is you drain the sacredness before it's even had a chance to grow roots. You spend the currency before the relationship has value. And the relationship collapses under the weight of its own premature intimacy. The second mistake is the opposite. You've been hurt so many times that you refuse to give the kisses at all. Even when the right man finally walks in, even when he is patient, even when he has proven himself over months and years, you still hold back because you're afraid. And your fear starves the relationship, because a man who has earned the sanctuary and is not given access begins to wonder if the sanctuary is real. And eventually, he leaves, not because he wanted to, but because you never let him in. The wisdom, sister, is in the middle. You do not give the sacred kisses in week 1, but you do not hoard them forever either. You watch, you wait, you test, not with games, but with reality. Does he show up when he says he will? Does he stay steady when things get hard? Does he speak of you with respect when you're not around? Does he treat other women, other people, waitresses, strangers with the same dignity he shows you? Does he honor his word? Does he protect your peace? Does he choose you out loud? And if the answer to those questions is yes over time, then you begin to open the sanctuary slowly, deliberately, with reverence. because the sanctuary is not just his, it is yours first, and you are letting him in. That is a privilege. That is a gift. And a man who receives that gift, sister, feels it. He feels it in his bones. He feels the weight of what he has been given, and he does not squander it. I want to talk to you about something else now, because I don't want you to walk away from this thinking these 3 kisses are just physical. They're not. They are symbolic. They represent 3 things every man needs from a woman that most women never think to give him. And even if you never physically kiss a man in these 3 places, you can give him these 3 things in other ways, and it will change everything. The forward kiss represents rest. A man needs a woman who is a place of rest, not a woman who adds to his stress, not a woman who competes with him, not a woman who mirrors his tension back at him, a woman who is peace. When he walks in the door after a hard day, does he encounter peace or does he encounter more war? That's the question. Because if he encounters more war, he will eventually stop coming home. Not because he doesn't love you, but because his soul cannot handle 2 battlefields. Now hear me, because this is important. Being a place of rest does not mean being a doormat. It does not mean swallowing your feelings. It does not mean pretending everything is fine when it's not. Being a place of rest means having your own inner peace so solidly that his storm cannot destabilize you. It means being anchored. It means being centered. It means being a woman who has done her own work, healed her own wounds, and does not need him to complete her. And when he encounters that centered, whole woman, her peace becomes contagious. Her rest becomes his rest. Her stillness settles him. The shoulder kiss represents honor. A man needs to feel honored by his woman, not worshiped, not idolized, honored. He needs to feel that when you look at him, you see the good in him. You see the effort. You see the trying. You see the ways he shows up, even the small ways, even the imperfect ways. The world is going to critique him every single day. His boss, his coworkers, his father, strangers on the internet. Everybody has an opinion about him. And when he comes home to you, he does not need more critique. He needs a woman who sees what nobody else sees. The good, the trying, the heart. Now, honoring him does not mean lying to him. It does not mean pretending flaws don't exist. It does not mean letting him get away with disrespect. It means seeing him fully, the light and the shadow, and choosing to speak to the light more than the shadow. Because whatever you speak to grows. If you speak to his flaws grow. If you speak to his strengths grow. And a woman who consistently speaks to the strengths of a good man will watch him become the greatest version of himself right before her eyes. The heart kiss represents belonging. A man needs to feel that he belongs somewhere. In a world that is constantly asking him to prove he deserves to take up space, he needs one place where his belonging is not up for debate. He belongs to you, and you belong to him. Not in a possessive way, not in a suffocating way, in a settled way, a rooted way, a this is home way. And belonging is created through consistency. It is created through the small daily choices to stay, to communicate, to repair when things break, to show up even when you don't feel like it. It is created through the willingness to say, we are a we. And nothing that happens outside of us gets to determine whether we are a we. That is the belonging that heals a man's heart. That is the belonging that makes him lay down his weapons and finally trust that he is home. Now, I want to speak to the woman who is listening to me right now and feeling the weight of not having this. The woman who is single and tired. The woman who is in a relationship and lonely. The woman who has given the sacred kisses to men who didn't deserve them, and now she's afraid she has nothing sacred left. Sister, I need you to hear me on this. The sacred is not depleted by being given to the wrong person. The sacred is only depleted when you stop believing in it. As long as you still believe in the value of what you carry it. Your worth is not diminished by having loved unwisely in the past. Your worth is not reduced by having given yourself to men who could not receive you. Your worth is untouchable. It is the one thing in this world that nobody can take from you. No matter what has happened, no matter what you have done, no matter how many times you have chosen wrong, you are still sacred. You are still valuable. You are still worthy of a man who kneels at your door. And the past does not disqualify you. The past prepared you. Every relationship that did not work taught you something. Every man who did not choose you cleared the path for the man who will. Every time you gave your sacred away too soon was a lesson in the value of the sacred itself. Nothing was wasted. Nothing. It was all tuition. And you have been paying tuition for a long time. Now it's time to graduate. And graduation looks like this. It looks like a woman who walks into a room and knows what she carries. It looks like a woman who no longer chases. It looks like a woman who no longer begs. It looks like a woman who no longer bends herself into apes to fit into someone else's small life. It looks like a woman who says, I am the sanctuary, and the man who wants access will earn it or he will not have it. Either outcome is fine with me because my worth does not depend on his choice. That is the woman men reorganize their lives to be worthy of, not the woman who is trying to be chosen. The woman who is choosing herself so completely that being chosen by her feels like winning the lottery. And baby, that is not arrogance. That is not delusion. That is the truth about you that you forgot when the world beat it out of you. And I am here to remind you, you are the lottery, not the ticket, the lottery itself. And every day you spend forgetting that is a day the wrong men get access to a woman they could never afford in a fair market. So let me bring this home. Let me tell you what I want you to do with everything I've said tonight. I want you to think about the man in your life right now, or the man you're hoping will come into your life. And I want you to ask yourself, has he earned the forehead kiss? Has he earned the shoulder kiss? Has he earned the heart kiss? Not physically, symbolically. Has he earned rest from you? Has he earned honor from you? Has he earned belonging with you? If he has, then bless him. Bless him with everything you carry. Kiss him in all three places, physically and symbolically. Pour into him with the fullness of who you are. Because a man who has earned the sanctuary and is loved by the queen of it will become the greatest man he was ever capable of being. Your love, sister, is a resurrection for a good man. Do not withhold it from someone who has earned it. But if he has not earned it, if he ghosts you, if he half loves you, if he cannot decide about you, if he takes and never gives, if he disrespects you, if he lies to you, if he keeps you in the waiting room of his life, then, baby, you close the sanctuary. You do not give him the kisses. You do not give him the tenderness. You do not give him access to the parts of you he cannot afford. You give him the door. And you thank God for the clarity to see him for what he is before you gave him what he could not honor. Because here is the truth I want you to carry with you tonight and every night after this. Your tenderness is not a common resource. It is not a public utility. It is not something you owe to any man who shows up in your life. Your tenderness is the most valuable thing you carry, and it deserves to be received by hands that know how to hold it. And a man who does not know how to hold it does not get to have it, period. You are not too much. You are not too deep. You are not too emotional. You are not too soft. You are not too intense. You are not too complicated. You are not too anything. You are exactly enough. You have always been exactly enough. And the man who cannot see that was never meant to be the one who received you. I want you to walk out of here tonight with 3 phrases in your heart. 3 phrases I want you to whisper to yourself when you feel yourself slipping back into the old patterns, when you feel yourself about to give the sacred away too soon, when you feel yourself about to shrink for someone who has not earned your fullness. The first phrase is this: I am the sanctuary, not a hotel, not a rest stop, not a public place, a sanctuary. And a sanctuary chooses who enters. The second phrase is this: my tenderness is a reward, not bait. I do not use it to earn a man. I use it to bless a man who has already earned me. The third phrase is this: the right one will kneel at my door, and I will not open until he does. And I am at peace either way, because my worth does not depend on the door being knocked on. My worth depends on the door being kept. Say those with me, sister. I am the sanctuary. My tenderness is a reward. The right one will kneel. Say it again. I am the sanctuary. My tenderness is a reward. The right one will kneel. That is your posture from this day forward. That is how you walk. That is how you speak. That is how you love. And any man who cannot meet you at that altitude is not your man. He is just a man, and he can keep walking. Now, I want to leave you with one more thing, a picture. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and see this with me. Somewhere out there right now, there is a man who is tired. He is a good man. He has been trying his whole life. He has been strong for people who did not thank him. He has been reliable for people who took him for granted. He has been carrying weight nobody helped him carry. And he is starting to wonder if there's anyone left in this world who will see him, really see him, see past the role, past the performance, past the shield. And that man, sister, is looking for you. He does not know your name yet. He does not know your face yet, but something in his spirit knows you exist. And every day he holds on, every day he keeps trying, is because somewhere in his soul, he believes there is a woman coming who will finally kiss his forehead, kiss his shoulder, kiss his heart, who will finally reach the places nobody has reached, who will finally give him permission to lay the shield down and rest. Your job is not to find him. Your job is to become the woman he is looking for. Your job is to heal, to grow, to soften into your fullness, to raise your standard, to guard your sanctuary, to become so undeniably rooted in your own worth that when he crosses your path, he cannot miss you. And baby, he will not miss you, because a man who has been waiting his whole life to be received recognizes the woman who can receive him from a mile away. His spirit knows, his body knows, his soul knows. So stop worrying about whether he's coming. He's coming. Your only job is to be ready when he arrives. And being ready means being a woman who no longer gives her sacred to men who cannot honor it. Being ready means being a woman who has 3 kisses she has protected and preserved and grown more valuable by refusing to spend them cheaply. Being ready means being a woman who carries herself like she knows exactly what she is worth. Because, sister, you do know. Somewhere underneath all the lies you were told, you are not asking for too much. You are not too deep. You are not too emotional. You are not too much of anything. You are exactly enough. You have always been exactly enough. And the day you finally believe that all the way down to your bones is the day everything changes. The day the wrong ones stop having access. The day the right one becomes visible. The day you stop chasing and start being chosen. The day you stop bigging and start blessing. The day you stop shrinking and start standing in the full height of the woman you were born to be. 3 places: his forehead, his shoulder, his heart. 3 sacred addresses on a man's body that hold his weight, his shield, and his soul. 3 kisses that will never be requested, but always be remembered. 3 doorways into the interior of a man that only the right woman ever walks through. And now you know what he wants. You know what he needs. You know what he cannot ask for. You know the language his soul speaks in the dark. You know the currency of the sacred. You know the difference between a woman who is chosen and a woman who is worshiped. You know the difference between a hotel and a sanctuary. You know, sister. You know now. So carry yourself like a woman who knows. Walk like a woman who knows. Speak like a woman who knows. Love like a woman who knows. And withhold like a woman who knows. Because knowledge that is not lived is just information. And I did not spend this time with you tonight to give you information. I spent this time with you tonight to give you a life, a different life, a better life, a life where you will finally receive the way you were always meant to be received. You are the sanctuary. Your tenderness is a reward. The right one will kneel. And you are at peace either way. If this hit your spirit tonight, I want you to sit with it. Don't rush to share it. Don't rush to tell everybody. First, let it work on you. Let it settle into the places that need to hear it. Let it rearrange the furniture of your inner life. And then, when you are ready, when you feel it has done its work in you, share it with the sister you know needs to hear it too. The sister who is tired. The sister who is chasing. The sister who is giving her sacred to a man who cannot honor it. Send this to her. Tell her, here, this is for you. Because sometimes the greatest gift we can give each other is a reminder of who we really are and what we really carry and what we really deserve. You are loved, sister. You are seen. You are enough. And the right one is on his way. Your only job is to keep the sanctuary sacred until he arrives. Do you hear me? Keep it sacred. And I promise you, when he kneels at that door, and when he finally earns the 3 kisses, you will understand why you had to wait. You will understand why the wrong ones had to go. You will understand why every closed door was a mercy. And you will thank God on your knees that you did not settle for less than the man who was always meant to kneel at yours. Good night, sister. Sleep in your worth tonight. Wake up in your power tomorrow, and never ever forget who you are.